The Galactic Council's massive view screen flickered to life, displaying the blue-green marble that was Earth. Ambassador Crixall adjusted his forearms nervously as he prepared to deliver the final ultimatum. The humans had been given 17 warnings over the past solar cycle, each one more severe than the last. They had violated trade agreements, refused to surrender their military technology, and worst of all, they had rejected the Council's demand for tribute. "Transmission ready," his aide whispered. All three of her eyes focused on the controls. Crixall cleared his throat, a sound like grinding stone. "People of Earth, this is your final warning. Submit to the Galactic Council's authority within one rotation of your planet, or face complete annihilation. Your primitive weapons cannot hope to match our fleet of 7,000 warships. We have conquered civilizations far greater than yours." The response came faster than expected. A human face appeared on the screen, a woman with steel-gray hair and eyes that held no fear. General Sarah Chen, Earth's military commander, smiled coldly. "Ambassador Crixall, Earth receives your message. Our answer remains the same. We bow to no one." The transmission ended. In the depths of Mount Cheyenne, General Chen turned to her staff. The war room buzzed with activity as hundreds of personnel monitored screens, showing Earth's hidden defenses. For 3 years, humanity had played weak, let the aliens think their technology was primitive. The warnings had given them time to prepare, time to build, time to plan. "Activate Protocol 07181, Chen commanded. Colonel Martinez looked up from his station. "General, the alien fleet is positioning itself around Earth. 3,000 ships in high orbit, 4,000 more holding at the edge of our solar system." Chen nodded. "They think we're helpless. They see our visible military, a few hundred spacecraft, some orbital platforms. They don't know about the rest. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, in caverns carved by fusion borers, thousands of attack craft powered up their engines. In the asteroid belt, what appeared to be mining installations shed their camouflage, revealing massive railguns and missile platforms. On the dark side of the moon, hangars opened like hungry mouths, releasing swarms of AI-controlled fighter drones. The Galactic Council had made a fatal error. They judged humanity by what they could see, not understanding that humans had spent their entire history perfecting the art of hidden warfare. From ancient ambushes to modern guerrilla tactics, humanity knew how to hide its strength until the perfect moment to strike. Aboard the Council flagship, Crixall waited confidently for Earth's surrender. The deadline passed. He turned to his weapons officer. "Begin the bombardment. Target their major cities first. Let them see the price of defiance." The first wave of plasma beams lanced down from orbit, only to strike invisible shields that flared to life around Earth's cities. Crixall's eyes widened in shock. Shield technology of that level should have been impossible for such a young species. "Return fire detected," the sensors officer screamed. From Earth's surface, columns of blinding light erupted skyward. Not laser beams or plasma. Something else. Something the Council's scientists had deemed theoretically impossible. Antimatter streams, contained in magnetic bottles, tore through space and slammed into the alien ships. Shields, designed to stop energy weapons and kinetic projectiles, had no defense against weapons that annihilated matter itself. 30 Council ships vanished in the first volley. General Chen watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. "Launch the submarine fleet. Activate all lunar batteries. Show them why you don't threaten humanity's home." From Earth's oceans, 2,000 attack submarines breached the surface and kept rising, their hulls transforming as hidden engines roared to life. What the aliens had dismissed as primitive underwater vessels revealed themselves as advanced aerospace fighters, each one armed with weapons reverse-engineered from captured Council technology and improved with human innovation. The battle for Earth had begun, and the Galactic Council was about to learn why humanity had survived every challenge in its violent history. They had ignored the warnings hidden in human history. The wars, the resilience, the absolute refusal to surrender when protecting their home. In space above Earth, Admiral Zontar of the Council fleet watched his tactical display in growing horror. The humans weren't just fighting back, they were winning. His fleet, which had conquered 47 worlds, was being systematically destroyed by a species the Council had classified as primitive. "Admiral, we're detecting massive energy signatures from the asteroid belt," his science officer reported, voice trembling. "The humans. They've weaponized entire asteroids." Zontar's 6 eyes focused on the screen as dozens of asteroids began moving, driven by fusion engines, accelerating toward his reserve fleet. Each rock had been hollowed out and filled with weapons, turned into massive battle wagons that could take tremendous punishment while dealing devastating damage. The humans had spent 3 years preparing for this moment. Every warning the Council had issued had only given them more time to ready their defenses, to perfect their weapons, to prepare their trap. And now, the trap was springing shut. General Chen opened a channel to the Council flagship. "Ambassador Crixall, this is Earth. You gave us 17 warnings. Consider this our first and only warning to you. Leave our solar system immediately, or we will destroy every ship in your fleet. You have 1 hour." The battle raged on, and with each passing minute, more Council ships fell to humanity's hidden arsenal. The aliens had expected to fight the Earth they could see. Instead, they faced the true Earth, a world that had hidden its fangs until the perfect moment to bear them. As the hour deadline approached, less than half the Council fleet remained functional. They had learned a valuable lesson. Never threaten humanity's home. Never underestimate a species that had clawed its way to the top of their world's food chain, and never, ever, ignore the warning signs that humans were far more dangerous than they appeared. Ambassador Crixall stared at the tactical display in disbelief. His mighty fleet, the pride of the Galactic Council, was being torn apart by a species they had dismissed as barely spacefaring. The hour deadline General Chen had given them was almost up, and Crixall faced a choice that would define the fate of the galaxy. "Order the retreat," he said quietly, his voice carrying the weight of defeat. "Sir?" Admiral Zontar turned sharply. The Council will have to accept that we underestimated these humans." Crixall's 4 arms trembled with suppressed rage. "Signal the fleet. Full withdrawal to the edge of the system." As the battered Council ships began their retreat, General Chen watched from Earth's command center. Her expression remained cold, calculating. The aliens thought this was over. They were wrong. "Colonel Martinez, status report on Operation Wildfire. All deep space platforms are online, General. The quantum tunnelers are in position." Chen nodded slowly. Earth's retaliation wouldn't end at their doorstep. The Council had threatened humanity's existence. That demanded a response that would echo through the galaxy. 3 days later, in the Centauri system, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The Great Chamber, carved from a single asteroid, housed representatives from 97 species. They had gathered to discuss the humiliation at Earth, but their discussion would be cut short. High Counselor Vrexnol had just begun speaking when alarms screamed through the chamber. "What is the meaning of this?" he demanded, his tentacles writhing in agitation. "Counselor, we're detecting spatial anomalies throughout the system," a technician reported, terror creeping into his translated voice. "Something is coming through. By the void, there are hundreds of them." Space itself seemed to tear open as humanity's quantum tunnelers created temporary wormholes. Through these rifts poured Earth's real fleet. Not the few thousand ships they had shown during the battle for Earth, but tens of thousands of vessels, fighters, destroyers, battleships, and in the center, humanity's masterpiece, the dreadnought Prometheus, a ship 5 kilometers long and bristling with weapons that defied Council understanding. Captain Lisa Wong stood on the Prometheus's bridge, her face illuminated by the glow of tactical displays. "All ships, this is Prometheus Actual. Engage Council military targets only. Any ship that powers down weapons will be spared." The Council fleet scrambled to respond, but they were caught completely off guard. Their homeworld's defenses, designed to repel conventional attacks, were useless against an enemy that could appear anywhere at will. Human ships materialized inside defense perimeters, behind shield arrays, in the middle of carefully prepared formations. On Earth, General Chen received real-time updates through quantum entanglement communicators. She turned to the assembled leaders of Earth's nations. Ladies and gentlemen, Phase 2 is underway. The Council wanted to play conqueror. Now they'll learn what it feels like to be on the receiving end. President Martinez of the Americas Union leaned forward. How many of their worlds are we hitting? 17. Chen replied with dark satisfaction. 1 for each warning they gave us. But we're not here to conquer or destroy. We're here to make a point. Across 17 council systems, the scene repeated itself. Human fleets appeared without warning, disabled defense networks, and destroyed military installations with surgical precision, but they touched no civilian targets, harmed no innocents. This wasn't genocide. It was a calculated message. In the Vraxian system, home to the Council's primary shipyards, Commander Jack Thompson led a strike force of stealth bombers. The shipyards that had built the fleet sent to destroy Earth were reduced to glowing debris within minutes. As Thompson's squadron pulled away, he broadcast a message on all Council frequencies. This is humanity speaking. You threatened our children. You threatened our cities. You threatened our very existence. Consider this a demonstration of restraint. We could have destroyed your worlds as you planned to destroy ours. Instead, we've removed your ability to threaten anyone else. Back in the Centauri system, the Prometheus faced off against the Council's last defense, the Apex fleet, their most advanced warships. High Admiral Krex Tor, veteran of 100 campaigns, commanded from the Super Dreadnought Dominator. All ships, concentrate fire on the human flagship, Krex Tor ordered. If we can destroy their leader. His words were cut off as the Prometheus did something impossible. The massive ship simply vanished, reappearing behind the Dominator. Before Krex Tor could react, surgical strikes from the human dreadnought disabled his engines and weapons. Captain Wong's face appeared on every screen in the Council fleet. Your leaders thought humanity was weak because we're young. They saw our divisions, our wars, our struggles, and assumed we were easy prey. But they failed to understand the most important truth about humans. When threatened from outside, we unite. When our home is in danger, we become something more than the sum of our parts. The battle, if it could even be called that, lasted less than 6 hours. When it ended, the Council's military might lay in ruins across 17 systems. But true to their word, the humans had avoided civilian casualties with almost obsessive care. They had destroyed the sword but spared the hand that wielded it. In Earth's command center, General Chen received a priority transmission. The face that appeared on her screen was unlike any she had seen before. Ancient, wise, and utterly alien. It was Tekval, the eldest member of the Galactic Council, a being whose species had achieved spaceflight before Earth had developed agriculture. General Chen. Tekval spoke, his voice carrying the weight of millennia. I am authorized to speak for the Council. We acknowledge our error. We judged your species by our own standards and found you wanting. We did not consider that you might exceed those standards. Chen leaned back in her chair. And what does the Council propose? A ceasefire, immediate and unconditional. The return of your fleets to Earth, in exchange for our formal recognition of humanity's sovereignty and a guarantee that no Council force will ever threaten your world again. Not enough, Chen said flatly. Earth wants a seat on the Council, full membership, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. We've proven we belong among the stars. Now we demand recognition. Tekval's ancient eyes closed slowly. When they opened, there was something like respect in them. You realize what you ask? Council membership comes with obligations, restrictions. We're aware, Chen interrupted. But we've also shown that we can be reasonable. We could have obliterated your worlds. Instead, we showed restraint. That should count for something. The negotiation continued for hours, broadcast live to Earth and the Council worlds. Humanity had announced its arrival on the galactic stage not as conquerors or destroyers, but as a force that could not be ignored or dismissed. They had turned the Council's own tactics against them. showing that Earth would not merely defend itself, but would take the fight to any who threatened it. As the details were hammered out, one fact became crystal clear to every species watching. Humanity was no longer the primitive civilization the Council had tried to subjugate. They were something far more dangerous. A species that learned from every threat, adapted to every challenge, and emerged stronger from every conflict. The fire and fury Earth had promised was not just destruction. It was transformation, evolution, and a warning to any who might threaten humanity in the future. The Council had given Earth 17 warnings. Earth had given the galaxy just one, and it would be remembered for millennia to come. 6 months after the Council War, as historians were already calling it, Earth's first official delegation arrived at the Galactic Council chambers. The restored meeting hall bore subtle scars from humanity's precision strikes, left deliberately unrepaired as a reminder of what happened when Earth was threatened. Ambassador Diana Okonkwo walked through the vast corridors, her footsteps echoing against alien architecture. Behind her, a small team of Earth's finest diplomats, scientists, and military advisors followed. They passed representatives from dozens of species, some watching with curiosity, others with barely concealed fear. "The humans are here," whispered a Krellian diplomat, her scales shifting to a nervous purple. "The ones who brought the Council to its knees." Diana heard the whispers but kept walking. Let them wonder. Let them worry. Earth had earned its place through fire and fury, and she would not apologize for their strength. In the council chamber, 97 species waited. The great circular hall could hold thousands, but today only official representatives were present. At the center, the council's speaking platform stood empty, waiting for Earth's first address to the galaxy. High Counselor Vrexnel rose, his recovered dignity unable to fully mask his unease. The Galactic Council recognizes Ambassador Diana Okonkwo of Earth. By unanimous vote, humanity has been granted full membership in this body. Ambassador, the floor is yours. Diana stepped onto the platform, her image broadcast across 17 systems. She had spent weeks preparing this speech, knowing it would define humanity's relationship with the galaxy for generations to come. "Fellow members of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice carrying clearly through the universal translators. 6 months ago, you sent warships to destroy our world. You threatened our children, our cities, our very existence. You gave us 17 warnings, each designed to break our spirit and force our submission. She paused, letting the weight of memory settle over the chamber. You failed to understand what those warnings truly accomplished. Each threat gave us time to prepare. Each ultimatum united us further. Each display of your power taught us how to counter it. You see, humanity has a saying, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." You tried to kill us. You made us stronger than you could possibly imagine. A murmur ran through the assembly. Diana raised her hand for silence. But we are not here to gloat or threaten. We are here because humanity has something unique to offer this council. You have achieved much through order, through established hierarchies, through careful, measured expansion, but you've also grown stagnant. When faced with a species that didn't follow your rules, that didn't bow to your threats, you had no answer but force. She touched a control on the podium, and holographic displays materialized around the chamber. They showed human innovations developed during the war, medical technologies that could heal previously fatal injuries, agricultural methods that could feed billions, energy systems that made their warships possible. In 3 years of preparation, humanity advanced our technology by centuries. War, as terrible as it is, drives our innovation. Competition fuels our growth. This is what we bring to the Council, not just our weapons, but our perspective. We are chaos to your order, innovation to your tradition. Ambassador Krixal, who had led the failed ultimatum against Earth, stood slowly. His forearms were spread in a gesture of supplication. "Ambassador Okonkwo, I speak not for the Council but for myself. I gravely miscalculated. I saw your divisions and thought you weak. I saw your youth and thought you primitive. May I ask, why did you spare us? You had every right to destroy our worlds, as we planned to destroy yours." Diana's expression softened slightly. Because, Ambassador Crixall, humanity knows the cost of total war. We've nearly destroyed ourselves more times than we can count. We've learned that true strength isn't in destruction, but in knowing when to stay your hand. We spared you because we want partners, not subjects. We want to build, not rule. The chamber fell silent. Then, from the section reserved for the Altarian delegation, slow applause began. It spread, species by species, until the entire council was acknowledging not just Earth's power, but their wisdom. Over the following weeks, humanity integrated into the council with surprising speed. Their engineers worked alongside council scientists, sharing innovations developed during the war. Their diplomats, trained in Earth's complex political landscape, proved adept at navigating interspecies disputes. Their military advisors, veterans of the Council War, redesigned defense strategies that had remained unchanged for millennia. But not everyone was pleased with humanity's rapid rise. In the shadowy margins of Council space, representatives from 3 warrior species met in secret. The Vraxians, who had lost their shipyards. The Korathi, whose pride had been shattered. The Zalani, who saw humanity as a threat to their position as the Council's military elite. They grow too powerful too quickly, growled Korathi War Master Drektor. Already, 17 species seek alliance with Earth rather than us. Their technology advances at an alarming rate, added Zalani's Supreme Commander Ixal. Our spies report they've begun something called Project Star Drive, a propulsion system that could make our fastest ships obsolete. Vraxian Admiral Krex Tor, younger brother to the High Admiral who had faced the Prometheus, leaned forward. Then we must act before they become unstoppable. A surgical strike, making it appear as pirates or terrorists. Humanity eliminated, the Council preserved. They began to plan, not knowing that human intelligence services had been monitoring their communications from the moment Earth joined the Council. General Chen, now Earth's military liaison to the Council, read the intercepted transmissions with grim amusement. They're planning to attack our colony ship, Colonel Martinez reported. The Spirit of Exploration, carrying 10,000 colonists to New Eden. Chen nodded. Let them come. It's time for lesson number 2. The attack came 3 weeks later. The Spirit of Exploration, seemingly vulnerable and alone, traveled through disputed space when 3 warships dropped from hyperspace. They bore no markings, but their weapon signatures were unmistakably Vraxian, Korathi, and Zalani. Unidentified vessel. The lead attacker broadcast. Prepare to be boarded. Surrender, and your deaths will be quick. Captain Michael Chang of the Spirit of Exploration smiled coldly. This is Captain Chang. You just made a fatal error. You assumed this was a colony ship. The colony ship shed its outer hull like a butterfly emerging from a cocoon. Beneath lay the Retribution, Earth's most advanced warship, bristling with weapons that hadn't existed 6 months ago. Around it, space shimmered as 50 stealth fighters dropped their cloaks. Did you really think we'd send civilians through disputed space unprotected? Chang asked as his weapons locked onto the attackers. Did you think we wouldn't be watching for exactly this kind of treachery? The battle was over in minutes. 2 of the attacking ships were disabled, their crews captured. The third tried to flee but found its hyperdrive mysteriously non-functional. Earth had developed interdiction technology during the war, but had kept it secret. Until now. Within hours, the evidence was presented to the full council. The conspirators were exposed, their species facing sanctions and disgrace. But Earth asked for clemency. We were attacked, and we defended ourselves. Ambassador Okonkwo addressed the emergency session. But we asked the council to show mercy to the Vraxians, Korathi, and Zalani. They acted from fear, not evil. Let them pay reparations, yes. Let them face consequences, certainly. But don't destroy them. Help them learn, as we all must learn, that the galaxy is changing. Her words carried weight because they came from strength, not weakness. Earth could have demanded devastating retribution. Instead, they chose reconciliation. It was this choice, more than their military might, that truly established humanity's place in the galaxy. Years passed. Earth's influence grew, but not through conquest. Human traders opened new routes between systems. Human mediators resolved conflicts that had festered for centuries. Human scientists shared discoveries that benefited all species, and always, in the background, Earth's military stood ready, not as conquerors, but as protectors. The Council evolved, becoming more dynamic, more innovative, more united than ever before. Species that had barely interacted began working together. Inspired by humanity's example of turning enemies into allies, the rigid hierarchies that had defined the Council for millennia gave way to a more flexible, adaptive structure. On the 10th anniversary of the Council War, a monument was unveiled on Earth's moon. It listed not the humans who had died in the conflict, but the names of every alien life lost on both sides. The inscription read, "They gave us warnings. We gave them change. Together, we give the galaxy hope." General Chen, now retired, stood at the dedication ceremony beside former Ambassador Crixall. They had become unlikely friends over the years. Their initial conflict transformed into mutual respect. "Do you regret it?" Crixall asked quietly. "The war, the destruction, the changes forced upon the galaxy?" Chen looked up at the stars, visible even in the lunar day. "I regret that it was necessary. But I don't regret what we've become. Any of us. Your warnings woke the sleeping giant that was humanity. Our retaliation woke the galaxy. Sometimes, fire and fury are necessary to forge something better." Above them, ships from 100 species moved through space in harmony. Human vessels flew alongside council craft, their crews working together on missions of exploration, trade, and mutual defense. The galaxy had learned the ultimate lesson. It was far better to have humanity as an ally than an enemy. And in the depths of space, human and alien crews worked side by side on Project Stardrive, preparing to take the United Galaxy to places none of them could have reached alone. The warnings had been given. The fire and fury had been unleashed. Now, it was time to build something greater than any single species could imagine. Earth had taken its place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as catalysts for change. They had ignored the warnings and struck back with devastating force. But in the end, their greatest victory was not in destruction, but in transformation. The galaxy would never be the same, and that, perhaps, was humanity's greatest contribution of all.